And a touchdown for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Yeah, Rick here from Hamilton Sports Central for the Ticats Talk Network for preview in week 18. No, week 19, because we have bye week and then week nuances. Week 19. It's the Calgary Stampeders at the Hamilton Ticats. We're going to look at both teams' depth charts as well as game notes. So first off, we have on the visitor side, on the right-hand side. On the boundary side, we have Jones at wide receiver, Coker at left tackle, Williams at left guard, Orton at center, Manu and Jack Bird at right guard, Nichols at right tackle, Barnes at wide receiver. Behind them is slot back on the left side is Dominic Rhymes with Vernon Adams, Josh Love, and quarterback Philpott and Dennis Benuis at slot back, Alfred and Brooks at the other slot back position, Paradis and Bassett at punter, kicker and punter, and Guggen as long snapper. We have Mills and at running back. Currently don't have anyone listed as kick returner. For defense on the boundary side, you have Hicks and Thompson, Vincent and Sambu. Wide or weak side linebacker Roberts, Tights, and Wilson. Kyle Wilson makes his against former club the Ticats with A. Johnson at the corner and Robinson and Onyenya as the halfback. On the Strongfield side, on the defense, we have Miles Brown and Wiley, Pearson and Joseph Lee, Herdman Reed, and Dykeroy, Moncrief and Blackwood at Sam, Monty Scott and Breeze, who just got signed this. Grant at halfback, and D. Robinson. Note this: Tyler Richards, Emery, who's injured, and Malden, who's just acquired a few weeks ago from Ottawa, who's as well. For the Ticats, we have on the boundary side, we have Kenny the King Lawler, Jordan Murray at left tackle, Revenberg at left guard, Colton Woodmansey at center with Zod behind him, Dobson at right guard, Barrow at right tackle. Wide receiver is Bridges, with Turnowski as the other wide receiver. With slot back, you have Tim White and Isaiah Wooden Sr., Milanovic, Litre, and Robinson with making his debut Dan Bell, because he's been injured most of the season. I would have to double check to see if he's played yet, but I don't think he has. Levi Mitchell and Taylor Powell and Jake Golagala as the quarterbacks. We have Greg Bell and Johnny Augustine as the running backs, and then the other slot back, Keandre Smith and Brandon O'Leary Orange. On the boundary side for Ticats, on defensive end, we have Jose Ramirez with Julian Hauser as a nationalized American. Then you have Mario Kendricks as D-tackle, filling in for Miles Fox. Casey Sales and Ty Anderson at the other D-tackle spot. Philip O.C. and Owen Hubert at the other defensive end on the field side. You have Hill with Bull II and Mead at Will linebacker with Kyler Fisher out and Mead in for Fisher. And Mead's making his debut on special teams. You have Devin Verisek, Ryan Baker, and Trevor Hoyt as middle linebacker. You have Reggie Stubblefield as Sam linebacker, and on the boundary side for corner, you have Jamal Peters beside Dustin Talbert. At free safety, you have Stavros Katratonis, Robert Panabaker, and Patrick Burke Jr. To the right of them is Sean Amos and Jonathan Moxley. And kicker, we have Mark Allegio with Gordon White as long snapper, Nick Constantino as punter, and then a kick returner / punt returner is Isaiah Wood Sr. Go to the game notes. Recent meeting, the last 4 meetings have been split evenly at 2 wins apiece, with Calgary taking game 1 of 2025 38-26. The Stampeders dominated the Russian game that day with a 158-47 yard edge. Since 2019, Hamilton has led the series 5-4. 24 in a row, Bold Levi Mitchell enters week 19 with 43,749 yards, 108 behind Matt Dunnigan, which he'll pass the week. For 8th on the all-time list, his record as a starter now is 109-45-2, and he's 19-20 with the Hamilton Ticats. Now started the last 24 games, the longest streak of consecutive starters in his career. And he's 1-2 versus Calgary. He has gone over 300 yards in 7 of his last 11 starts, and 10 times this tied for number 1. Old Levi Mitchell is 100. I just did themselves. Mitchell has 6 career performances of 400 plus yards, including 1 in 5 first versus Toronto, 405 yards. He leads the league in passing yards, 4,726 passing yards. All time here is the win-loss records. Ends up number 3 in winning. So last week he passed Warren Moon. He's going for Dave Dickens. Mitchell 4 touchdowns. He was at his best versus Toronto at 320 yards and 4 touchdowns, 1 interception on of 25 passing. His 13 yards per attempt is second highest in the Jersey 4.0 versus Toronto on July 4th. It was his 8th career game with 4 more passing touchdowns. Vernon Adams for 2,000. Vernon Adams started last 7 Calgary, and they are 3-4 in the span after a 5-2 for the year. Then he is 8-6 in 14 starts and ranks 5 on 3,492 passing yards. For his career, he has 1,082 yards and 308 more to become the 39th player to reach 20,000. He is 46, 8 and 4 career starts. Cedric Mills over his last 7 games has held under 70 yards, and now has the CFL lead 1,120 yards with 3 games play, the most by any Calgary player since Jerome Messam in 2020 with 1,198. Stavros Katratonis dominated the defensive side last week with first 3 interceptions. He's grabbed a share of the CFL lead at 6, as many as he has over his games. Added a career high 8 defensive tackles last week. Greg Bell's rushed for 76 yards and 12 carries. Toronto 6.3 yards per attempt over his last 5 games. 500 yards for an average of 6.7 and 110 yards per game. Bell is at 913 rushing yards, 87 of his 1,000-yard season. Take this down. At sack attack. Hamilton's 9 sacks were the most in a game by any team. October 4th, 2023, when Toronto had 9 versus Ottawa. The last time Hamilton had 9 or more sacks was July 6th, 2016, a 9 sack effort in a 31-7 lead at Montreal. Hauser 4 sacks. Julian Hauser doubled his career single high with 4 sacks. At Toronto, increasing total to a career high of 11, tied for second in league with the Alouettes. Isaiah Berglund. Julian Hauser's 4 sack effort was second of 2025, joining Matthew Betts of B. 87-yard touchdown. Brendan O'Leary Orange run and catch was the longest of this year. The Ticats have had his first 100-yard game, his first career 100-yard game, and set a career high with 111 yards on 2 catches. 4 interceptions. Hamilton defense had 4 interceptions. Toronto, the last time 4 interceptions on August in a 50-11 win over Montreal. Lawler 20-plus yard depth. Ticats receiver Kenny Lawler has a CFL leading 47 targets of 20 yards plus depth in 2025 with 23 catches, also number 1. The next closest, 25 targets. Eugene Lewis. Lawler has caught 2 of his 3 deepest targets versus Toronto. He has 4 games, multiple touchdowns, and DeAndre Smith reached the 1,000-yard receiving plateau time in his career after totaling 98 on 6 at Toronto. Smith has 19 catches for 250 yards over his last 3 games to lead Hamilton. 9 sacks and 4 interceptions. Hamilton's defense had 9 sacks and 4 interceptions for Toronto. Only 2 other teams have accomplished that in history. Montreal on August 7th, 1917 over Edmonton, and Ottawa on October 1990 31-9 win over Hamilton. Rene Paredes and Sean White. Rene Paredes is number 2 at 87.5 field goal rate. 5 is made 30 of 30 tries, 81.1%, including 3 for 8 last 3. With 2,413 points, Paredes ranks number 7 all CFL scoring. All White 2,206. Paredes conclusive games played streak is now at 244 in a row, 8th longest in CFL history. White is number 1 in field goal percent with 94.6 mark, making 35 of attempts in 2020. All-time White ranks number 1 with 88 on 550 of 620 attempts. Tim White has slowed down with only 4 catches for 31 yards in his last 2 games. He needs 157 yards. For 4 consecutive seasons. Last time Ticat had 3 1,000 yards was 2017. Asker Galen's has 2 more sacks than last week. Now ranks number 4 on the alone 9 leads. Wait, he has 6 sacks in his last 6. Dominic Ryan has 8 catches for 120 yards in his last 3 in a row with at least 1 reception. Tyler Fisher had 9 defensive tackles last week and has 52 in his last 6 starts. That is. I will be at the game, so I will have my review along with other games that I've missed in the last couple of weeks. I do appreciate everyone for stopping by, checking out today's preview. This is Rick from Hamilton Sports Central, and have yourself